It's 10 p.m. in Banjul, and from our studios on MDI Road, this is the news. First, the headlines. Fiscal consolidation through policy reforms to take center stage in the coming year, as indicated in the 2016 budget speech delivered by Finance and Economic Affairs Minister Abdukoli. The harvest, if plentiful, so too are the laborers. Eager volunteers from the Upper River region turned Kanilai to gather the produce from one of President Jammeh's granite farms. German Chancellor Angela Merkel signals a shift in policy towards the tens of thousands of refugees streaming into Germany. This as Berlin inches closer to the million mark. And Philippines evacuates hundreds living in low-lying areas. This as Typhoon Milo makes its way to the coast. Well, viewers, these and other stories coming ahead this half hour. I am WINIFRED NICOL. Thanks for joining us once again. One Ansumana Bojang of the Personnel Management Office has sent a message of goodwill to the President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh Babili Mansa, and the text reads, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Your Excellency, I have the honor and privilege to congratulate you on your recent dialogue with the People's Store. Your Excellency, agriculture being one of your priority sectors is further strengthened by your government through the dialogue with the People's Store, which allows you to know constraints faced by farmers and come up with possible solutions. Sir, allow me to commend and congratulate you for pardoning prisoners. Sir, the development did not come to me as a surprise because it was something I saw coming. As your love for Gambians cannot be overemphasized, this was further manifested in your recent banning of female genital mutilation in the Gambia. On that note, Your Excellency, I wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. May Allah continue to protect and guide you and your family. The message ends. The Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Abdukoli, on Monday delivered the 2016 budget speech before a packed legislature focus on fiscal consolidation through policy reforms. Samuel Ba was following proceedings, and he now reports.
Read before a packed full legislative chamber, the budget for 2016 is said to be mainly centered on fiscal consolidation of national development goals as the surest way to achieving economic growth and sustainable development. According to Minister Colley, recent economic growth have been characterized by a series of external shocks. However, the Gambia, under the leadership of President Jammeh Babili Mansa, is committed to building a resilient economic base.
In spite of the challenges in the economy, the government remains steadfast to correcting the imbalances in order to restore macroeconomic stability through sound fiscal and monetary policies directed at improving efficiency in revenue generation and public spending that meets the requirement of modern-day service delivery. While there were difficulties in meeting our net domestic borrowing target over the years, stemming partly from the effect of exogenous shocks, the budget continues to be anchored on curtailing net domestic borrowing to 0.5% of GDP in the medium term.
With developments in the global economy believed to have direct impacts on the economy, governments will continue to intensify efforts to enhance budget process and strengthen expenditure control.
In support of this objective, we call on all, in particular accounting officers, to adhere to strict fiscal discipline by ensuring that spending stays within approved limits, refraining from committing beyond available resources, and realigning spending based on evolving priorities.
On the real sector developments, Colley informed the House that agriculture and forestry are said to have declined due to adverse weather effects, while the fishing industry recorded significant growth. The services sector growth also recorded a decline, while the country's banking industry remains safe and sound. In its quest to achieve modern infrastructural development, the Gambia, according to Finance Minister Colley, will continue to embark on a series of transport infrastructural development projects. Colley noted that energy is one of the main drivers of meaningful development, and government is now diversifying the energy sector to include renewable energy. On the social sectors of the economy, the Basic and Secondary Education Ministry, according to Minister Colley, continues to register significant gains in providing quality teaching and learning. The higher education sector also continues to deliver on its mandate of building the human capital stock of the country, whilst health and youth matters remain a top government priority. Consistent with the policy of tax for development, with effect from 1st of January 2016, the government will implement the following reform measures.
Corporate tax will be reduced from 31% to its final target of 30% as envisaged when the measure was first introduced in 2010. Taxation on tobacco products will be increased as follows. Specific excise tax on cigarettes will increase from $12 per pack to $15 per pack. Environmental tax on cigarettes will increase from $2.20 per pack to $2.42 bututs per pack. Excise tax on other tobacco products will increase from $200 per kilogram to $300 per kilogram. Environmental tax on other tobacco products will increase from 110 per kilogram to 120 per kilogram.
But what is the reaction of the majority and minority leader to the budget speech?
We must continue as a government and as a people to ensure effective public finance management, fiscal discipline, and operational efficiency, especially in the area of public procurement.
We have heard him saying, okay, it will be very difficult for executing the budget for simply because we have this Ebola outbreak, then we have a little delay of rainfall 2015 really affect the budget. These are natural causes. But with that, on Wednesday, we are going to look at it thoroughly, then come back to Parliament and look at the detail of the budget.
Samuel Bach, GRTS.
Hundreds of people from the Upper River region and Casamas were recently in Kanilai to harvest the president's groundnut farms. The volunteers, led by the governor of the Upper River region, Alhaji Omar Samposisi, includes head chiefs from 7 districts of the country. Momodu Jallo was in Kanilai, and this is his report.
The stream of volunteers eager to show solidarity with the Gambian leaders' farming activities continues as hundreds were in Kanilai for a weekend of farm work. The huge groundnut farms are due for harvest, and the need for hands to help in gathering the crop is at its highest. The people of the Upper River region, led by their governor, Omar Samposisi, were at hand to once again offer help. They are on a routine journey to a place they proudly call theirs, having worked here over the years on various farming activities. For the governor, this latest undertaking will significantly expedite the groundnut harvest.
You know, this area belongs to the entire country. So whoever comes to this area, you are doing it for yourself. So we are very appreciative of coming, and we really appreciate the welcome that we have received since arrival. We are only pushing harder and harder. We are here to represent the people of the Upper River region. I am very pleased. I want to thank my authority, that is the chiefs, the APRC structures, the young people, particularly the women. You can see how active they are. They are in their numbers.
This is a viewpoint shared by the veteran chief, Alhaji Julaba Kora of Kantora, who said his people are always passionate to contribute to Professor Jammeh's diverse farming activities. He thanked the volunteers led by their respective chiefs for the turnout, which he added has surpassed expectations. He urged all Gambians to embrace the president's philosophy of growing what you eat and eating what you grow. Besides these volunteers from the Upper River region, several hundred more from the neighboring region of Casamance also responded to calls for help. Babaji, head of the group, said as neighbors, they also felt compelled to compliment the president's farming activities as the benefits trickled down to everyone. Adijiba, speaking on behalf of the women, added that the composition of the volunteers are diverse, coming from 5 settlements within the Casamance region, all united by their common desire to strengthen the president's vision and mission. She assured that they will ensure all the fields are finished, a challenging undertaking they are all too happy to accomplish. Mamadou Diallo, Grts News.
Over now to News Just In. His Excellency the President of the Republic, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A. J.J. Jammeh Babili Mansa, accompanied by a high-powered delegation, will leave Banjul on Tuesday, 15 December 2015, at midday for Abuja, Federal Republic of Nigeria, to attend the 48th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government and the 40th anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States. Those invited to see off the President and delegation are therefore urged to be at the airport at least half an hour before departure for the usual ceremonies. Meanwhile, militants and youths of the ruling party have also converged on a 10-hectare rice field located in Birkamaba to gather the produce. Asaduketa reports on the gathering of what is a bumper harvest.
The National Vision 2016 initiative continues to receive a massive boost from people of all walks of life. The latest to contribute to the national food basket were the APRC youth wing who over the weekend registered a bumper harvest at their 10-hectare rice field in Birkamaba. The move is the first of its kind, undertaken by these indomitable APRC militants under the stewardship of Honorable Babugay Sonko, APRC youth leader.
When he was making this pronouncement some couple of years ago, people thought that it's a dream. But every genuine Gambian, every thinking Gambian, every mature Gambian knows that at the time that was a direction to the right direction. For the fact that grow what we eat what we grow. I mean, the beauty of it is he wants us to be independent. Because as the saying goes, you cannot be totally independent if your food store lies in overseas. When vegetables is coming, you'll be starved. So it's, to me, it's a clarion call.
The youth mobilizer, however, called on Gambians and development partners to intensify their support to the agricultural sector, which he said needs support.
We are calling on people to come and partner with young people and give us support. We are looking for support. I would say right from the president, because in this particular area we were able to secure the area from the community, and we want to make continuous farming here. So in that form we may need a tractor, because definitely sometimes we distract Major Balde to get most of his tractors, and we know he's also very committed and he's full to capacity in terms of activities. So we are appealing to whoever, to our father who is the president, to give us the support, and whenever we get the support that we needed, believe me or not, we will make a difference.
The custodian of the farm, Mohamed Fati, also a youth mobilizer of Lower Fuladu, recollected the effortless investments the group applied on the farm. Fati also recognized the numerous material support they received from the farm manager of the Vision 2016 farms in CRR, Major Sidi Balde. Also participating at the farm was one Lamin Kamara, the regional youth mobilizer of the Kanifing municipality. Kamara explained the backdrop of this activity while describing the laudable Vision 2016 as a success.
We had the manpower, we have the water, we have the land. It's only to put in capital and make it reality. Of course, we are seeing what the president is doing. This is why we, as the youth of this nation, under the leadership of Babugay Sonko, we decided to come back here. As you can see, this vast land was cultivated by us, the youths of this country. So as a matter of fact, when we had another opportunity, we want to go beyond this. In fact, we are aiming higher than the amount of hectares we have grown.
This massive harvest, recently registered by these APRC youth militants and other Gambians currently taking part in the food self-sufficiency crusade, has given a glimmer of hope for the successful actualization of the National Vision 2016. Aissatou Keita, GRTS.
Gambia Armed Forces will be conducting a live firing exercise from Tuesday 15 to Thursday 17 December 2015 at Lance Corporal Bojang's range in Birkama. A news release from Defense Headquarters states that the military will also conduct a field training exercise from Friday 16th to Wednesday 23rd December 2015. The general public, the dispatch adds, especially residents of Birkama, Kasakunda, Jalangbang, and other satellite villages, are therefore urged not to panic, but are equally advised to avoid the designated areas during the period of the exercises the dispatch ends. We will be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Germany can't cope with the number of migrants arriving on its shores. That was a message from Chancellor Angela Merkel at the party's annual Congress. Almost 1 million migrants have arrived in Germany this year, and there are calls to cut the number allowed in. Merkel rejected that proposal, but pledged to reduce the number arriving in Germany. More in this DWTV report.
Faced mounting internal criticism over her open-door migration policy. But as she took to the podium for her keynote speech, CDU delegates gave her a standing ovation. The main proposal on refugee policy calls for a noticeable reduction of the numbers of migrants. Merkel called for specific changes and not just to German policy. We want a uniform European asylum system with similar decision-making standards and measures across Europe that could then really fight against the misuse of European asylum. But Merkel was defiant in her assertion that Germany has not bitten off more than it can chew. If we now would indeed doubt our ability to do it with regard to our European responsibility, to our humanitarian responsibility, and our responsibility for Germany, then we wouldn't be the German Christian Democratic Union. But that's who we are, and that's why we can do this. Her proposal was met with a mixed response from party members. To send out a signal that it can't go on this way, that we shouldn't overwhelm ourselves, that's one thing. And the other is that we, for example, as the Federal Republic, reserve the right to strengthen border controls if European efforts fail. Above all, it seems to me that the proposal is no real foundation for effectively reducing the influx of refugees. Even so, it's generally anticipated that the party executive's main proposal, as outlined by Chancellor Merkel, will be accepted.
In the Philippines, hundreds of thousands of people have been evacuated as a powerful typhoon came ashore with high waves and heavy wind. Typhoon Malo may land on the country's eastern coast, and it's now working its ways across the country. Officials are warning of a possible flood and landslide. Details in this DWTV report.
Pelting rain and winds of 150 kilometers an hour are keeping this park in Sorsogon in the Philippines deserted. Typhoon Malor made landfall in the eastern Philippines in the early hours of Monday. Schools are closed, flights are grounded. With storm surge warnings along the coast, some 700,000 people have been evacuated. Further inland, those in the path of the storm face possible floods and landslides. The densely populated country is hit by an average of 20 storms and typhoons a year, and loss of life is not unusual. Just 2 years ago, Typhoon Haiyan came ashore, the strongest typhoon ever recorded. It killed 8,000 people in the city of Tacloban. Malor is still on the move, and rescue teams are out in force. They're working together with civilians in an effort to minimize damage. Like here in Luzon, in the northern Philippines, which is now bracing for the arrival of Typhoon Malor.
We take our second break now. Welcome back. It's billed as the biggest sporting convergence in the 2015 sports calendar of the bustling town of Farafenni, where hundreds of spectators gathered to cheer those participating in the 4th edition of the Farafenni Marathon. Babakar Senghor has more on the race expected to help the needy.
It was another historic moment for the people of the provincial town of Farafenni, as scores turned out to witness the 5th edition of the town's marathon. This year's event, organized by the Farafenni Marathon Association, seeks to foster unity through athletic sports. Demba Marong of the Gambia Police Force emerged the champion of the 2015 male race after he completed the 10-kilometer race in 32 breathtaking minutes.
It took me a long way before winning the race because it has taken me nearly 3 years, since the initiation of Farafenni Marathon. I've been taking second for 3 years now during the Farafenni Marathon. So this year I began to say to myself, the person who took first is training. So let me also make my effort and double up my training so that I can also be the winner of one day.
The 5-kilometer for female was a thrilling contest. Gambia's new middle and long distance queen, Sona Sao, beat up the challenge of last year's defending champion to secure the title for her first win in the Farafenni Marathon.
This year, I put it in at the back of my mind and I spoke to my coach that I want to go and compete Farafenni because I have never been to Farafenni. This is my first experience. But since then, he told me, okay, I will take you to Farafenni. I was very impressed and I was training very hard. So to make sure that when I come here to make a record.
Action continued with the crowning of a new champion in the 15-kilometer bicycle race after Boubacar Tangara broke Chandu Cisse's 4-year-old stranglehold on the title. Sports brings excitement in this part of the country and also serves as a unifying force, fostering unity among the youth of the country, as well as help those with athletics talent to showcase their skills.
The people who took part here came all along from Banjul to participate in Farafenni. And they are institutional athletes, that is the police and other institutions. So you see how sports can bring people together. But by extension, as I said, I am not going to give you sweet words. I want the sporting associations to unite and make one. I will tell you in our this policy that is in the House of Parliament, the sports structure, we have our headquarters, that is NOIS, the Ministry of Youth and Sports. That's where we have the minister, the permanent secretary, 2 deputy permanent secretaries, youth and sports.
Since in the beginning, that is one of our aims and objectives, that is to bring the youths together. And we have seen that from all angles, people have come here. And from all the regions also, people have turned up to our call to come and participate in the 5th edition of Farafenni Marathon.
Over the years, the competition has gained greater momentum in attracting more athletes across the country.
I thank you sincerely for participating in this year's program. And I would go further to tell you that the sky is the limit for you. The leadership of this country, the President of the Republic, Sheikh Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya AJ Jammeh, is going all out to make sure that you get what you want, the youths of this country.
The Farafenni Marathon was initiated by the youths of the town 5 years ago with the objective of helping raise funds for some important social initiatives. Organizers are hoping to introduce more sporting events to enable the participation of disabled persons and better prepare athletes for national competitions too. For Grts Sport, this is Babakar Senghor.
And to news just in, His Excellency the President of the Republic, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya AJ Jammeh Babili Mansa, accompanied by a high-powered delegation, will leave Banjul on Tuesday, 15 December 2015, at midday for Abuja, Federal Republic of Nigeria, to attend the 48th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government and the 40th anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States. Those invited to see off the President and delegation are therefore urged to be at the airport at least half an hour before departure for usual ceremonies. And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. Fiscal consolidation through policy reforms is to take center stage in the coming year, as indicated in the 2016 budget speech delivered by Finance and Economic Affairs Minister Abdukoli. The harvest, if plentiful, so too are the laborers. Eager volunteers from the Upper River region have thronged Kanilai to gather the produce from one of President Jammeh's groundnut farms. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has signaled a shift in policy towards the tens of thousands of refugees streaming into Germany. This as Berlin inches closer to the million mark. And Philippines have evacuated hundreds living in low-lying areas. This as Typhoon Malo makes its way to the coast. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. From me, WINIFRED, NICOL, and the entire news team. Thanks for being there. Enjoy the rest of our programs.